Welcome everyone to a special edition of Bears Training Camp, something going on in the other 31 NFL camps as well. It is back together Saturday, camps across the country popping like it was here today at Hallis Hall. That man right there is Tom Thayer. I'm Jeff Joniak. Welcome into the PNC studios at Hallis Hall. And it is brought to you today by Enjoy Illinois. Did you enjoy practice today? Good crowd today here at Hallis Hall. What have been your early impressions of everything?
I always like to see the fan support. As an ex-player, it really meant a lot for us to walk on the field and see the fans surrounding the field. But I think the fans are being rewarded with full-speed practices, an indication of what Matt Eberflus has been talking about since he's come aboard. And I think it's only going to get faster, better, and more enjoyable for us to be able to watch and the fans coming around. But I'm encouraged. Matt addressed the fans today with an open mic. So outside of having their names on the back of their jerseys, now you got the head coach addressing the fans.
Well, he is really tied into the history of the franchise. He enjoys it. He loves it. The fact that the names are on the jerseys tells me a lot, but also he does respect what the fan base has brought over a long time, a century plus of Bears football. Coming up, Lauren Screeden will sit down with David Montgomery, a player we should talk about, number 32. He is rocking and ready to roll for his fourth NFL season, a big part of what is going to be an offense that we believe will be centered in many respects around the running game to build that passing game.
Yeah, I think he's one of the most impactful players on the football team. When you think of the mentality of a running back and how it filters through the rest of the running back room, but how it complements your team and your offensive system, I think David Montgomery has it all. He's a super ferocious runner where he gets yards after initial contact. He catches the ball very well out of the backfield, and he's got great willingness to stand up and take on blitzes when that's his responsibility. I've loved David Montgomery since he's come aboard, but he's also a great compliment to his teammates.
Good compliment to Khalil Herbert. There's some good running backs in that room. One of the strengths in our opinions of the Bears offense right now. Justin Fields running the show. QB1 is first string, and he is enjoying it. The leadership's following him as well. Players are responding to him. What have been early impressions of Justin Fields?
You know, the other day we had him on Bears All Access, and you asked Justin, have you ever been starstruck? And he said, no, I haven't. And that kind of tells me something about, is this job too big for Justin? And I don't think it is. I think he's willing to accept his responsibility. He's willing to put in the time, effort, and the study in order to make this position fit him and the team as well. So I'm excited about Justin Fields and what he has going forward.
Chemistry shown with Darnell Mooney, also Cole Kmet. Not just limiting it to those two guys, but they worked together a lot this offseason down in Atlanta. You can see it, certain throws. Even Cole Kmet admitting this week, a back shoulder throw down the seam wouldn't have happened as targeted and as precise as it was this week. Again, no pads. We'll see when the pads come on how this all develops. But those are two great starting points to talk about the offense, obviously, right there. And then I'm going to let you have the offensive line because that's your specialty. But just touch on the chemistry with the weapons so far.
Well, you know, I have to have the big three, and that's Dave Montgomery, Cole Kmet, and Darnell Mooney, because when you think of all the other pieces they can put in place as they earn their opportunities, those are three great compliments to Justin Fields to start with. So you have a completely open offense when you have speed and maneuverability downfield with Darnell Mooney. You have inside presence and on-the-line blocking with Cole Kmet, and then you have what we've already said about Dave Montgomery. So I think those three guys can complement this offense tremendously.
Everyone asks, they want to say, hey, when are you going to be comfortable about getting the starting five set on the offensive line? But it's going to be a process.
September 10th.
Yeah.
That's when you need to know who your starting five are going to be. And they brought in some veterans here recently to come in here and compete for starting positions. They got some veterans that they've already had on board that are really entrenched in their spot. A new offensive line coach, Chris Morgan, is not taking it easy on these guys. He's putting a lot of pressure on them. He's willing to put rookies up with the first team to see how they react to this situation. So, you know, a lot of the story we're seeing by what Matt said is going to happen, but man, there's nothing like pads when they start playing the sport of football.
Which will also impact the defense as well. And they've been flying around. I think that is a development process that is going to be narrowed in terms of time because there's a chemistry brewing. They're taking the ball away quite a bit. They've got that ferocious mentality. Can't wait to see them in pads. But that's what they want. They want violent. They want explosive. They want eyes on the ball. They want takeaways, and they want effort. They want the last rep in practice to look like the first. Any cliche you want to throw on there about That kind of football is what is being delivered by Matt Eberflus and Alan Williams and the entire staff.
About defensively, I'm super encouraged by the speed of the back seven, because you see the guys that they're out there practicing on a regular basis. They're flying around and they are getting the interceptions. Who's going to be the best four up front? And I think there's some heavy-duty battles going on. It's nice to see Robert Quinn back on the practice field. But again, there are some unknowns to us that when the pads come on and you get these guys that maybe our fatigue is trying to change their effort level, someone's going to rise above, and we'll start talking about a new name here in a week after the pads are on.
Youthful exuberance wrapping us up on this segment, Tom, because Kyler Gordon and Jaquan Brisker certainly are bringing that to the table. These rookies are fighting over turnovers. Brisker says he wants to be the turnover king, and it's a competition between those guys, Eddie Jackson and the rest of the secondary.
You know, when you start playing college football at a major college that both of these guys have come from, you start getting yourself mentally and physically ready for this opportunity. And it's not something that you're just gifted, it's something that you've earned. And I think both of these guys, Kyler and Jaquan, both of these guys have earned the opportunity to be in the position they're in. Now can they sustain it? Can they hold down that position? Can they be healthy every day? That's some of the great unknowns that you'll see in 2 or 3 weeks.
We'd love to sit here and break down every one of the 90 guys on the roster. Time does not permit, but believe me, we're excited about the entire crew competing for competition and jobs and a chance to make an impact on the 2022 Bears and beyond. One of those guys is, of course, David Montgomery. Let's go to Lauren Screeden for the interview with the Bears veteran running back out of my alma mater, Iowa State.
Thanks, guys. I'm here with David Montgomery. You've got a few training camp practices under your belt now. What's the biggest difference for you personally since you took the field last season?
Personally, probably the biggest thing is just stepping into my evolved form. I'd say being able to take a step forward from where I was at. I missed a lot of time in the season last year, so I want to be sure that I'm available in all aspects of the game for my team and for myself as well.
I know you love hyping up your teammates, talking about them, so you can pick offense or defense, but what player has come to play this year? Who's balling out at camp?
Can I say a couple?
Yeah.
Definitely Justin. Moon going crazy per usual. Valus, Khalil going crazy too. I think everybody doing pretty good, really. It's early on in camp, but you'll really be able to see where everybody else at in preseason, which is real soon too, so I'm excited for that. But everybody doing real good.
Well, the first person you mentioned was Justin, and it's obvious you guys have some chemistry. You smile talking about him. So, just describe that relationship, that chemistry to me.
Yeah, Justin, he's one-on-one. You know what I'm saying? Him to be able to come in as early as he did and as young as he is and kind of take the reins. He's doing an incredible job, and everybody's behind him. And we follow behind Justin, and, I'm excited to see what he's going to do because he's going to be incredible. He's going to surprise a lot of people.
All right, personal side of stuff. You announced yesterday that you're going to be a dad. So what's that been like, just that transition and different mindset?
Yeah, it's been a big transition, just understanding that my girl got a whole human in her stomach. But it's been good, though. I'm excited to be a dad, and I'm also excited the one thing that I'm really excited about is clothing my child. Being able to, dress, style my kid.
Yeah.
Because I know, I think I can really dress, but, the ideas that I got for my baby gonna be really dope, too. So, J's, you know what I'm saying? Some nice jeans. I might even give them, some stacked pants.
Oh,
I ain't gonna give you too much. I'm gonna chill.
Okay, well, we're going to need to see all these outfits in action here. Boy or girl?
We won't know until January, until the baby's here.
Okay, it's going to be a surprise. I like that.
Surprise, yep.
Well, congratulations on that. Can't wait to see what you do this season. Thanks for joining me. Jeff, Tom, I'll send it back to you guys.
All right, thanks very much, Lauren. Good to hear from David Montgomery. Tom, when people come out to camp over the rest of the duration of this thing, over the next few weeks, give us a couple of names that have caught your attention other than the ones we've talked about here on the show. Anybody of interest? I'm going to throw Valus Jones Jr. in there because I love seeing him with the ball in his hands. He's a very confident guy coming in here at 25. He's got the maturity already, but he is an explosive player, 4.31 speed. That's one guy I'm keeping an eye on.
Well, I'm going to go with a couple of young offensive linemen, Doug Kramer and Jatari Carter. A couple of guys that have caught my interest because they show power, they show athleticism, solid footwork inside the framework of no-pad football. N'Keal Harry, I think he's captured the attention of all of us because, first of all, football players, they pass the eye test. What do they look like to you? He's got what you look for in a receiver. He's a big guy. You know, and I think when you look at the other interesting, you just think of the group of tight ends, because Cole Kmet is going to be the guy that's going to be elevated to the leader, even though they have some experienced tight ends in this group. But you got to see what these guys are able to contribute. So, you know, you got to start with that group of guys, and you know, you get a better determination of what these guys do when they put pads on. So I kind of want to hold off on anything too exciting, but there's always a couple offensive linemen that capture my attention.
Always. And, you know, and I love pass rushers. So, you know, Trevis Gibson is somebody that I think is ready to have a breakout season. He really came on strong at the end of last year. You know, that Robert Quinn influence also helping out a younger guy in his third year, but that's a takeoff year for me. And then I am interested in seeing what Dominique Robinson brings to the table. He's got all the tools, the body, just doesn't have all the experience at that position. Being a former quarterback and a receiver that has become a pass rusher in the National Football League is crazy stuff.
But one thing, once they start getting film sessions in full pads, a guy like Dominique Robinson can improve from meetings, because he can look at the arsenal of a guy like Robert Quinn, the arsenal that Trevis Gibson has been able to develop over the couple of years, and the other players on there. Watch your position. Learn from the examples that are set before you.
And then we got to give a shout out as well to a guy who's been here and has gone to the Pro Bowl twice. Eddie Jackson, I think, is poised to have a big year.
Well, Eddie Jackson and Cody Whitehair, two guys on both sides of the ball that have great experiences, and they've had great accomplishments throughout their career. Eddie Jackson, yeah, he's going to be the guy that's got to spearhead this defensive backfield, getting it back to the ball hawking mentality they used to have. And Cody Whitehair has to come here and be the leader on the offensive line. He always has been. So when you look at two guys on each side of the ball that have that leadership role, they both earned it. Now they got to both take the torch and carry it forward.
It'll be fun to watch this team develop over the course of the year. There's great uncertainty, the great unknown. We keep calling it the land of opportunity across the board. Anything you want to throw out there, because it'll be interesting to see what it all winds up looking at when they take the field September 11th against San Francisco. Stick around over the course of the training camp portion of this season. He and I will be breaking some stuff down for you and getting you ready for preseason football. Thanks again. It's been a good back-together Saturday. For Tom Thayer, Lauren Screeden, I'm Jeff Joniak. Thanks for watching, everybody.